Alright, so here we go, number 2. The pain and stuff that I've endured after, I guess it was a year. Well, probably longer than that. Dealing with my mom, and everything. I cut her off. I couldn't. I loved her. I prayed for her. But we changed our number, went private number. Just drastic steps that we had to take. I ended up finding a doctor with my husband's help, nudging me. I dealt with a lot of pain. Pain to me, and this is something, the only person that I really talked about to this was my therapist. I dealt with a lot of pain as punishment before the pills took over. I would deal with the pain. Not only was it like punishment that I felt that being a bad daughter, pain, the infection pain, just everything. And this goes back to the HS because I had it in underarms, groin. It was a horrible mess. You just have to go back to the video, the hidradenitis video, and you'll see. It's pretty drastic. A lot of times I would deal with that pain because I felt it was a punishment that I had to somehow deal with. It's something I got to deal with. I did something bad, and this is my punishment. That's the way I felt. Well, my husband, every time I went to the doctor, they wanted to shove antibiotics, antidepressants, and pain pills at me. I was done. I was done. I didn't want to take that stuff anymore. And like I said, steroid shots. So I called one doctor, and he told me that, it would be like opening Pandora's box and everything. I won't go into that all over again, but he was just rude. He was ugly. I was like, oh great. See, I don't want to deal with this again. Because a lot of doctors did deal with either, oh, that's nasty. The nurses would look at you. It was just ugly all the way around. We found this Dr. Weeder. He was an angel. And I really don't. There's times when you really do need a doctor. There are times. I will never down because Dr. Weeder was my angel. He gave me my arms again, which, yeah. So, I had my first big grafting surgery. So I'm home, and I'm recouping over that. My husband's running his first marathon. It's freaking awesome. The kids and I can remember this day because we're running back and forth to TVs on different channels to see if we could find him. I think he was running the 10-miler, the Papa John 10-miler is what he was running. So we're running back and forth to TVs, and all of a sudden I get this phone call. And it's my neighbor, and she's like, Karen, I have something to tell you. And, I can remember just feeling excited. Oh, my God, well, you really need to hurry up because I'm trying to find my husband on one of these TVs. So, she tells me, she goes, there's ambulance and police cars at your house. And I was like, I can remember almost dropping the phone. It falling to the floor. And I was just like, okay. Yeah. I can't explain everything that I was feeling at that moment. And I can remember asking her how many stretchers was brought out of the house. Because I always had this reoccurring dream that both my mom and dad would end up killing each other. Yeah. But to ask that, I don't know why I did, but that's what came out of my mouth. And she said, just one. And I believe it was your mother. I really had nothing else to say at that point. I had a million, trillion different things running through my head. The very first thing that I had ever going through my head was, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? Yeah. All right. Well, to get back, my husband's running a 10-miler. Yeah. So I couldn't get a hold of him. Finally, he calls me, and he's out of breath because he just got he just got done. He's so excited. And I have to tell him that, my mom died. There's no way he can get to me quickly because of, he's in this chaos mess. I couldn't stay on the phone with him. And I think he kind of freaked out because, like I said, I just had skin grafting done. Just found out my mom died. And that was just crazy. Well, after that series of events there, I don't know why, but I was on this mad focus of I got to get better. I can't deal with that. I was real good at pushing things to the side, where it just built up into this mountain of stuff. But I would push, and I was just like, I got to focus, because in 3 months I'm having another surgery. I remember walking in to Dr. Weeder's office, getting ready for my next surgery. And everybody just staring at me, and they were just like, Karen, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm great. Why? And they're just like, well, you just lost your mom? I can't explain how or why I separated all of that. Betty explains it that I had severe ADD, and so severe that it was almost like it was my defense mechanism that would help me with all that. It was amazing because all of that, I did not become any sicker with the HS. It was like the HS let up after he did all the major points of his surgery. He did both my underarms and then my groin. But then, with all that with my mom, the grieving, my dad pretty much, when everything was said and done, and we weren't allowed to go to the funeral, or there was no funeral. There was nothing for my mom. Nothing. He didn't even tell us that he was going to throw her ashes wherever she threw it. The kicker was, my dad came in with me and my brother sitting at the table and just throws my mom in a Ziploc bag, her ashes on the table. I will never forget this as long as I live. Threw her ashes in a Ziploc bag on the table and said, there's your mom. Tell me my family wasn't delusional. My friend was sitting there and she was like, okay, does nobody else see that there's something wrong with this picture? She looked at Eddie and was like, Eddie, do something. Because this is, what? He just threw her mama on the table. We didn't even know that she was going to be cremated that quick. Who cremates anybody that quick? So I had all that to deal with. So that being said, because I almost forgot that, and that's a very big key point of something that it took me a while to get over. My dad was on a lot of drugs and drinking too to deal with my mother. It was like a domino effect of crazies is what it was. Yeah, ultimate crazy. So with all that I was dealing with, guess what else seemed to happen and come in my way, and that was pseudotumor cerebri. Yeah, that's pressure in the brain. My brain does not drain the cranial fluid like yours does. I have a shunt here and 2 shunts in my back that helps to drain the fluid. I had to have a surgery almost every 3 months that year to help with that. That doctor pleaded with me and said, Karen, it's a whole lot deeper of what you're dealing with. You need to lose the weight and you need to take care of yourself. He said, and there's no amount of surgery, there's no amount of pills I can give you that'll help you with this. And that's when Eddie stepped in and he goes, that's it. You need to talk to somebody. Yeah, it's crazy. And then the drugs fill in somewhere in there where I was just wanting to get done with my mother. I could not deal with it anymore myself. Well, I never dealt with it. I pushed everything to the side. So I took the drugs. The drugs, it was getting so that I was taking 800 to 1,000 milligrams of Vicodin. Yeah, and doctors were prescribing it to me. They would prescribe me anything I wanted. Yeah. I was falling into the trap my mom fell into. And it's funny because There are doctors out there that really, I mean, I can remember her giving me samples of all different kinds of pain medication. On top of the 800 milligrams of hydrocodone Vicodin that I was taking. And I felt like Superwoman. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I'm at 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop it here, and then I will catch you all next one.